Welcome to another episode of the Dynamic Thriving Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Ann Pack, spiritual medium, oracle for the many, and joy advocate, guiding you into all things life transformational. And today I have a beautiful guest with me. Anne Garland is here.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Mary Ann. I've been waiting for this day where we could get together and just chat. Let's just talk about stuff.
I know. This is beautiful. So Annie and I met through Ladies Power Lunch. And you hear me talk about it on every show because Ladies Power Lunch is the group that we love to be in. And ladies, if you are looking for a very supportive, very encouraging group to help you grow in your life and your businesses, Ladies Power Lunch on Facebook is the place to be. So you can find them under groups, Ladies Power Lunch, or visit their website, ladiespowerlunch.com. So Annie, we are going to jump right in and ask the hard question first. Who is Annie and what good do you bring into the world?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you, I've been doing a lot of good for a lot of years because this is a milestone year for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I bring connection to women. I give them hope and I give them confidence. I've been doing events for them, for women, on my own. I was in corporate for so many years. And then I did events and I'm still doing them. And it's really the good that I bring is helping women, get confidence networking. That's a lot of women need that. Absolutely. That I'm finding because I think it's 2 out of 3 women really aren't confident when it comes to networking. So that's kind of my jam. And I tell people, I've been networking so long, for so many years, I've been to more launches than NASA, honestly.
Perfect. I love it. And I love your title because it's the CEO, Chief Event Officer for your company, Anne Garland Enterprises.com. So our topic today is secrets of a serial networker. This sounds juicy, so we're going to dive in. What problem do you help your clients solve? The transformation that they receive as they work with you?
Well, I work with women primarily who want more confidence networking, whether it's in person or virtual. And we all know what happened this year with virtual. And I saw so many people making so many mistakes that as soon as virtual hit, I just started writing a new book called Split Second Connections Gone Virtual. Ooh. However, that isn't coming out as a book because it's actually the second section of my new book that's coming out. So I combine in-person and virtual. And then there's a third section, now that I'm talking about my book, called Networking for Events, because that's really where my jam is. I love bringing women together. I love giving them experiences. I've been giving women experiences long before it became the talk of 2021. You know that everybody's talking about, you don't do an event, you do experiences, right, Mary?
Oh, yes, there you go.
It's all about the experience. And I'm like, I've been doing this for so many years. Let me just tell you, I give you experiences. So, and my events are really unique. I don't do too many of them. I do 2 or 3 a year. And actually this year I had to go on hold. Obviously everybody did, right? So I did something called a mastery series. And I've got a couple of those wrapping up for the end of the year. And it's where I bring 3 women together in a certain theme or genre, whether it's sales or whether it's gratitude or whether it's marketing. I mean, just the whole gamut, even woo. I've got a spiritual woo that
we love woo here. We're all about the woo.
And what happened was when we do our little, I always do a rehearsal with anytime I do an event. I always bring all the women together, men, whatever it is, because that's one of my secrets of my serial networking for events even, is that I bring everybody together. And so with the woo, what was really amazing about this, and you're going to love this, Mary Ann, is that their guides were saying, oh my God, women need this. They need to know. And these women are each in their own right, like you, very spiritual, and they just have great information to share. So the guides were telling them, you got to do it again. So we booked like 3 for the year, and so we've got one coming up in 2022 as well. So I'm all about experience, giving women experiences. I've done I just love all the events that I've done, and they sell out quickly because I'm known for these experiential events. So that's what I bring to the world.
Awesome. So yeah, talk a little bit more about women, especially needing that confidence in their networking. Because yeah, I wouldn't be a very confident networker. I'm kind of that introvert. And you wouldn't know it because I talk on the podcast all the time, but this is a one-on-one thing where, it's not in a crowd, and I'm more crowd shy than anything. So how do you help them build that confidence? Because we need to be out there. Women in business need to be connecting.
Right. And so with all of my experiences, networking and corporate and all that, I have found that there's 3 main reasons why most people don't like to network, whether you're an introvert or whatever. They don't know how to approach someone. They don't know what to say when they do, and they don't follow up. So those are the 3. And I put it in a wonderful little formula. I call it the ASK method. And I always make a joke. It's ask with a K, so you don't get confused. And the A is the approach, S is what you say, and the K stands for key. The key is in the follow-up. And you've heard that ad nauseum, right? I mean, everybody knows you've got to follow up. So that's one of my methods of bringing people together, is just having them learn how to do this, how do you approach someone? And I came up with this is in my book, and I'm happy to share it here. It's my 3-2-1 formula. And I love this because I've had people like yourself say, how do you approach someone? And what you really want to do before you even think about approaching somebody, how do you know who to follow up with or who you're going to approach, right? So how do you do that? And so one of my secrets is you want to look for what I call the gold. And it isn't somebody in the room, if you're single, looking for a man that's wealthy. You're looking for somebody who's sitting alone or standing alone. And if they're a true introvert, they're off in a corner somewhere, right? I mean, you found yourself, or you'll sit by yourself, if you don't want to interact, So that's what I call searching for gold. So you want to go up to that person, and you want to, and this is my 3-2-1 formula. I call that, you want to meet 3 people. That's all you want to meet when you go to a networking meeting. You don't want to be card collecting. You want to be connecting. And this actually happened to me one time. As outgoing as I am, I found myself in a room I didn't know a soul. And I said, okay, what are you going to do, Annie? How are you going to approach someone? And I know you go for somebody who's sitting or standing alone. And then I targeted somebody. I went up to them and I said, excuse me, I see you sitting here by yourself. My name's Anne Garland. And I decided that I was going to meet 3 people tonight that I never met before. And you're my first. So here's what you say. What brought you here tonight? That's the easiest and the best ever lead-in question. I mean, it's safe and you get them talking, which is really what you want to do when you're networking.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't want to just go up and just bombard them with, hey, what do you do? You've got to date them a little bit. You got to, it's called building. Move them, right? So yeah. So you do that, and then you start asking some more questions, and eventually, if the call is going, or the meeting's going well, you're going to, they're going to ask you, what do you do, right? Or what's your passion? I don't like that term, what do you do? It's so salesy. I mean, I've been at so many chamber meetings and guys come up to you and they look at your name tag, and mine just says Anne Garland Enterprises, which is really a good thing because they don't know and they'll ask, so what is Anne Garland Enterprises?
Right.
Because it's very vague. If you have a specific thing, like, with all due respect to anybody who's listening, you're a yoga instructor, maybe the guy's not there, the person's not into yoga. So if you want to keep it kind of vague, that's really important, I think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so you just start asking questions and you start building a rapport. That's really important. And guess what? If you really don't think this call is going well and you really thought maybe you need to move on, you can gracefully get out of it. And you know how you do that? You go, oh my goodness, look at the time. The speaker's going to be on in a few minutes and I've got 2 more people to meet. I got to go. So that's a good exit, right? So
Right.
So I've given you some solid tips on, the first, how you approach someone, what to say, get you going.
Yes, that's helpful because it's always that for introverts like myself, it's always, oh my goodness, who in the world would I talk to? And are they going to want to talk to me? And I don't want to get salesy. I don't want them to push on me either, because, you always kind of have those little radars up of who's going around the room going, I'm the greatest, take my card, and you want to stay away from those as much as possible. I love your idea of finding somebody that's sitting or standing by themselves to just touch base with and see if there's a connection.
Yeah. And really you can just walk up to them and say, hey, I'm here to meet a couple of people I've never met before. And I just saw you sitting here. You could keep it, just put it in your own translation, but it's basically the same concept. Right. And I've had people say, oh my gosh, that is the most simplest, best ever. So I'm in the process of trademarking that, my 3-2-1 method. But It's worked for me. It's worked for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share with you this. I know you said you're an introvert and you're shy. And so you've heard of FOMO. Well, that's what shy people do. They're fear of missing out. They want to be part of it. They just don't know how, right?
Right.
But then there's the true introverts that is called JOMO. And you know what JOMO is? For introverts that really don't want to connect with people, it's the joy of missing out. So you're not a JOMO, you're a FOMO.
Oh, okay.
You're shy and you have a bit of, extroversion to you,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because once I get on a subject that I love, it's like I could talk forever. But
yes, and we know you can.
I know we've had so many conversations in the past. So I know already we can see that your approach is different and, very Annie-like, but give us something else that maybe is different, your secret sauce that another coach may not practice, that somebody may be feeling out there like, I'm resonating with her, but I want more.
Well, I'll tell you, I've just decided to bring this little person. I don't know whether if I want to call it a person. It's part of my, I really want to share it with you. So I met this person that was networking, and she's my new chick friend. And I call her name is Dixie. Have you heard about her? Have you heard about my new chick friend, Dixie?
I haven't.
Well, she's here. I got her with me here today.
Oh gosh. For you who cannot see it, she is holding up a rubber chicken.
It is. And this is Dixie, my new chick friend. Anyway, so you know what? When it comes to networking, let me just tell you, Dixie was standing in a corner by herself and I approached her. So believe me, she was standing by herself. But the whole thing about the chicken is it's a metaphor because it's on my, can I share my book cover?
Absolutely.
It's my book cover, The Secrets of a Serial Networker. I've got Dixie there, right? Secrets. I don't know if you can see it.
There you go.
Can you get it?
And for you on the podcast that cannot see the video right now, she's holding up the cover of her new book, Secrets of a Serial Networker that should be launched in October, November. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But go ahead, Annie.
So the chicken is really a metaphor, like, and so I usually say, I answered that age-old question because of Dixie. Why did the chicken cross the road? And she's helped me answer that because she wanted to meet other chicks. And so do you. Most people do. They just don't know how to do it. Thus is my ask method. So I think that all ties in together. And, in the sea of sameness, when it comes to networking, in my book, it's more of, there's a lot of humor in there because it's not a how to, there's a lot of how to, but it's different because there's stories and a lot of I Love Lucy stuff in there too that have happened to me. But everything is based on referrals and connections. And that's really what networking is all about. And so I talk about that and I add a little levity to it. And if you haven't figured that out by now, me being on this podcast,
yes,
I love humor.
Yes.
And there's a reason why I'm a redhead. That's all I can say.
There you go.
Although when I was growing up, I actually looked like Alfred E. Newman's little sister. So I think, I was the black swan or whatever it was that turned into the black duckling that turned into the swan or whatever.
Yes.
So.
And I always say on every episode, our mess is our message. So what was your mess? What did you transform through? What did you live through that made you have such a passion for this kind of work? Because there's always some kind of a background story as to why we do what we do.
Well, I actually didn't get to go to college right out of high school. I'm the youngest of 5. And when I was graduating from high school, it's like, I don't want to go to school. I'm done. I'm cooked. Like I didn't have an opportunity. I saw my sister and brother, they're 10 years and 8 years older than I am. And they were just burdened with all these expenses. And I just said, I don't want to do that. And so I had a very lucky opportunity. I was invited to do a work study program in my senior year of high school. And that's where I worked for the telephone company. It was a work study program. So I was out there making money while everybody else was spending money on their education.
Right.
I eventually did go to school, but I worked for the telephone company. It was my first foray into connecting with people. I was the Ernestina. Honest to God, if you're like, 60s, 70s, if you ever saw Laugh-In, remember Laugh-In with Ernestina? That was me. So how that, my mess is, I so wanted to, I was working at the telephone company, but I was inside and I'm an extrovert. I need to be outside. And so I needed to get a job working outside. So after about 6 months, I was promoted to sales. And that was my foray into learning how to sell, because they had me in their customer service on the phone, selling phones, right? So I left and got a job on the road with Yardley of London, of all things, back in the 70s, early 70s. And my mess is that that's where I learned in a man's world, what's not working when it comes to networking. And that's really, I've learned so much over the years of how to connect people. And that's where my message is from my mess. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, rolling out into that message because, of you growing and evolving in your life and your career and moving forward. And, so now you have this beautiful package that people, as they get your book, when it comes out in October, November, they'll be able to step right into learning all the things that you've been able to pull together in a concise package. So how can people connect with you? What's a good way to people find you online?
Well, I have my website, which is Anne Garland Enterprises.com. And I want your readers and listeners to know, your visual people and listeners to know that it's ANNE
Mhm.
and I pronounce it Annie. And then
And her link will be in the show notes. I always add for your
Okay.
convenience. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I also have LinkedIn, which is Anne Garland Enterprises.
Mhm.
And I also have Twitter, which I don't do too much on Twitter. I'm not a real,
I'm not either.
even though I have a chicken, I don't tweet. So, and Instagram, I'm on Instagram a lot, and that's Anne Garland 888 is my tag. So you can reach me there. And yeah, I haven't done anything with Pinterest. I'm sort of looking into that as well, but I'm going to be taking
good. So the best way to get a hold of you is through your website. And again, that link for Annie's website will be in the show notes. And you have a email list that people could maybe hop on to if they're interested in your secrets of a serial networker. When that book comes out, if they want first dibs on it, you have an email list that they can sign up for?
It's real easy. It's Anne, ANNEG, at AnneGarlandEnterprises.com. That's my email.
And is there a box or anything that they can, is there a pop-up on your website for them to get an email?
How to connect with me.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
that will help.
It's all in there.
Good.
Yeah.
So the link will be, like I said, in the show notes. And the other thing that I was thinking, we can just mention too, that we've had some of the ladies who have participated in Be the Beacon. It's another Ladies Power Lunch anthology, and Annie is one of the authors of a chapter in that book. So keep your eyes peeled for that book also, that will be coming out. So if you join Ladies Power Lunch or go to their website, information on that book will be out. So Annie's been a busy writer lately.
Can I give my chapter name? It's very,
absolutely.
It's called The Bracelet and the Seed.
Oh, Bracelet and the Seed.
And
very nice.
That happened to me when I was very young. I tell a story about how there's a bracelet and a seed in there and what that means, and how that's given me hope that I give to others. Awesome. So that's really
well, that will be an intriguing chapter. So watch for that book, Be the Beacon. And that comes out actually October the 18th. So keep your eyes open for that. Oh, thank you so much, Annie, for spending time with me. I so appreciate you.
Oh, it's been my joy to be here.
Yes. So. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for being part of this podcast and opening your heart and listening, and be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any other podcast episodes. And as always, you're invited to visit our website, maryannpack.com, for all of our services, for connecting with our e-newsletter. And when you sign up for the e-newsletter, you also get a free downloadable 31-day journal of positive aspects. So be sure and do that. And you'll find that on maryannpack.com. And of course, all the links will be in the show notes for your convenience. So Annie, do you have any parting words of wisdom you want to leave us with today?
Well, what I will tell you is that when somebody asks what's my why and what's my purpose, what's the premise of why I do what I do, my statement is no one makes it alone. Absolutely. We all need community. And that's Absolutely. Really what drives all of us. Is we weren't born to be alone. We were born to connect.
Absolutely. Yes, we are social creatures for sure. So we definitely need that community, networking, the belonging, the feeling like we have a place.
Yeah. I know as so many people are suffering because of the pandemic, and they're lacking with the heart-to-heart and toe-to-toe interactions. Absolutely. But which is why I did the virtual segment, to help people along. But it's really all about the real true nose to nose, heart to heart connecting. Yeah. Again, no one does it alone. We all need help. We all need support. And that's what's driven me over the years. That's why I was Part of You Women and LPL, a Ladies Power Lunch. I mean, Davia has just done a majorly beautiful job connecting
Yes.
women.
Yes.
And I'm
yes.
thrilled to be such a part of that. So
Absolutely.
and if you're out there, you can join it too.
That's right, because it's a free Facebook group.
Yeah.
We have just one rule, that we intentionally support one another so that we all rise. Thank you everyone again for listening. And remember, you are joy, looking for a way to express.